Hey guys, I'm back with a hands-on video of iOS 7. Now I am running the preview build, the developer preview build. That is still in beta, so expect some hiccups, expect some slowdowns. I'm also running this on the iPod Touch 5G, which isn't the fastest iOS device right now anyway. And yeah, a lot of changes have happened in iOS 7, so much that I probably can't go through them all, but I am going to try and go through all the main ones. So yeah, let's do it. So the first thing I want to talk about is the radical design change. Apple really needed to do this. iOS was looking stale, it was looking boring. They've finally done that, they've radically changed it. You'll notice it straight away. It's got a much more minimal, flat aesthetic to it. They've done away with the shadows, they've done away with the curvy edges, and I've got to say I do prefer it. It looks to me a lot like Android's minimal MyUI ROM, if you've ever seen that, or maybe even a little bit of TouchWiz. It's got that kind of bright colors. Now, some people don't like it, but I actually quite like this. Now, a lot of people said they didn't change enough. Now, I don't really agree with that. They were never going to completely rebuild iOS. That was going to alienate the existing users. They were never going to do that. So fundamentally, you've still got your rows of apps. You've still got your settings that are all set up. But you can see the transitions are slightly different. They've gone for different fonts. They've gone for a much more minimalistic look, white and blue. And I've got to say, I do prefer it to the previous iOS versions. You can also see that they've done away with the swipe left to access universal search. You can see it doesn't do anything. Now to access universal search, you just pull down here and you can access it just like you normally could. And it functions in exactly the same way. It doesn't have to be from this page. It can be from anywhere that you have your apps. And you can see you can pull down there and universal search pops up. So that's definitely more efficient than swiping all the way left to access universal search all the time. If we pull down the notification shade, you can definitely see them taking cues from Jelly Bean. They've gone for a kind of transparent background instead of that horrible grey thing that they had in the previous iOS versions. And again, that looks to be taken directly from Jelly Bean. Let's be honest about it. And you know, all of them copy each other, so it needed to be done, and they've done it. If I show you the lock screen right here, you can see again it's very minimal. There's nothing really going on. You slide to the left to unlock and notice the different transition when the apps come in. And yeah, there's pretty much every design change you can think of here. Every app icon is slightly changed. The colors are different. Even the apps themselves are slightly different. You can see the calendar's being reworked. Everything has been redesigned and changed, and it's good. It's good to see that from Apple. They've finally done it. They've finally redesigned iOS, which they really needed to do. Okay, so let's move on to one of the new features Apple introduced, and it's quick toggles. Now, Apple called it the command center, but that's kind of like, what the fuck? It doesn't need to be called the command center, and you can access this from anywhere within any app just by a swipe from the bottom, so you can see this. And I like the design of this again, very minimalistic. I'll just show you that you can actually access this from any app. So I'll go into the settings, you just drag it up from the bottom, and it's as simple as that. So you can access it from with any app. Now what you actually get here is quick toggle. So you've got your airplane mode, your Wi-Fi, your Bluetooth, do not disturb, your rotate the screen as well. You've got your brightness slider, so you can quickly change that. You've also got quick toggles for your music, play, fast forward, rewind, and volume. You've also got AirDrop here, which is a new feature they introduced in iOS 7. This is very much like Android's NFC or the Galaxy S4's S-Beam. Basically, well, you don't have to tap the devices together, but it'll find devices near you, contacts only or everyone. You can send contacts, you can send pictures or videos, anything like that. So it's kind of cool to see. Underneath that, you've got some more toggles. You've got your flashlight. So if you need a flashlight, you can easily access that. You've got your clock, you've got your calculator, and you've also got your camera as well. So that's quite cool. I like that. I like the design. They needed quick toggles, and now they have it. Now, if we lock the screen, you can also access it from the lock screen. You can actually turn this off if you don't want to, but you can access it from the lock screen, so you can see that right there. So you don't have to unlock your device to change your settings. You can also, which is new in iOS 7, access your notification shade. And yes, we have seen that in Android. You can access your notification shade now without unlocking your device. So you can see all your notifications, your missed, and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, that's kind of cool, right? Okay, so let's talk multitasking. And again, Apple has completely redesigned the way this looks and works on iOS 7. To access it, you double tap your home button just like you used to, but you'll notice a lot of changes. You now get a full app preview, and below you've got your little app icon. You can easily navigate through by swiping left to right. You'll notice that this takes a lot of cues from WebOS's card view, if you've ever seen that. It pretty much looks and functions exactly the same as that. Now you can easily kind of jump into an app just as quickly as pressing it, jumping into a different app, pressing it, and going back to your multitasking. To close out an app, it's as simple as just swiping upwards and the app closes out. Now, at the beginning, I mentioned that they actually changed the way this functions, and the way that is it now learns which apps you use the most and it keeps those open. So not all these apps are going to be open all the time. it kind of freezes most of them just like normal on iOS, but the apps that it learns that you use the most will stay open. So that's kind of cool. We'll have to wait and see how that actually works because I haven't been using it well enough or long enough to tell you how it actually works. So yeah. So those are some of the main upgrades in iOS 7, and I just wanted to take a little bit of time to show you some of the smaller stuff that Apple's implemented. And I wanted to start off with the semi-live wallpaper, and that's the best way I can describe it. So you can see if I tilt the device, the wallpaper kind of tilts with me, and it gives me a kind of 3D effect on my icons. It looks like my icons are floating above it, and it kind of looks really cool actually. It's not a fully live wallpaper like on Android devices, but it is a nice touch from Apple, and it does give the OS a little bit more of a futuristic look. So definitely a good job on the semi-live wallpaper there. If I dive into the camera as well, you can see this has had an overhaul. You've still got your focus square, but you can just swipe left and right to go to different modes. You can see I've activated video mode. It's all very transparent and very minimalistic when you go into video mode. You can see everything goes transparent, so you've got kind of a full image. If you swipe right, you've got photo, you've got a square, and you've got panorama. It's all very simple, but it all just looks a little bit more elegant than what we had in the previous iOS versions. Apple have also made some changes to the browser, and if we dive into Safari, we can see those changes. And again, it's got a much more minimalistic, clean look than it did before. And finally, Apple have introduced a unified search and address bar. I cannot say how many times that annoyed me about previous versions of Safari. It was the most annoying thing that you have to choose the right bar because I never did. So finally, it's unified, so you can just use this bar for everything, search and addresses, and it all just works. I've got to say with this version of Safari, it looks remarkably similar to Google Chrome. I really think they've taken all the cues from Google Chrome, that it basically looks identical. Even in the tab animations, it looks very similar. If I open up a new tab here, you can see it's a slight difference from Google Chrome, but that's about it. It actually looks very similar to Google Chrome. So nonetheless, it's good to see some changes in Safari. If I bring up the keyboard here, you can also see that's had a slight change as well. The font is slightly different, and that is apparent throughout the whole UI as well. It makes it look a lot more current. But the actual background of the keyboard kind of changes depending on what app you're in. So right now it's kind of white. If you go to the universal search bit, you can see the keyboard you bring up has a darker background, and it has a few more colors like the blue search button and the lighter shift key as well. So a few changes to the keyboard there. So there you have it, guys. That's my overview of iOS 7. There's quite a lot of changes. This is a massive update for iOS and iOS users. Apple has done quite a lot here. They've pretty much done all they could do to change every aspect of the OS as much as they could. So it's a good job from them. It's one of the best updates they've ever put out. So let me know what you guys think. If you're an Android user, does this update make you want to switch? If you're an iOS user, what do you think of this update? Let me know your opinions in the description, and yeah, peace out.